Recording in progress.
Okay, what is that? Four. Oh, your laptop. Okay, call the meeting to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's not one nation under God. It's one nation under God. There's no comma.
You weren't there when I learned it in kindergarten.
Madam Chairman, as Chairwoman, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda and swap item 5 and item 6.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by opposing. Kyle?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Celeste?
Aye.
Mike?
Yes.
All right, okay. I'm making this one there and this one there. Declaration of potential conflict of interest. Kyle?
No.
Sue?
None.
Celeste?
None.
Mike?
None.
None. Moving forward. Recognition of the SEPRD Employee of the Month, the fabulous Ms. Kelly Smith, who is not here, but we will talk about her anyway. Kelly is the perfect example of devotion, commitment, and passion. She fully grasps how impactful her job can be, and it shows in the work she does every day. It's her mission to give her kiddos the best educational experience she possibly can, exhausting every effort to ensure her little ones are ready for the next big step. Kelly is kind, thoughtful, and creative with her instruction, and is especially intentional with building caring, compassionate, trusting relationships with her students. It is no secret that Kelly sets the bar high with her many years of experience and time at SEPRD, and is often seen as a leader among other staff. Kelly's contributions throughout the district do not go unnoticed, and her reach stretches beyond expectations. We are so thankful to have such an amazing example amongst our team, showing us what it means to teach, to love, to show, and inspire. Thank you, Kelly, for all that you do, for how hard you work, and for the lives you change. And I will add that both my children had her as one of their preschool teachers and benefited greatly, and they love Ms. Kelly. So thank you, Ms. Kelly. Moving on to public comment. Ms. Marty.
We had new business under the department.
We just switched. That was the motion that we just made.
Okay, right, public comment comes after that, I just wondered. Okay, excuse me.
You're okay, Mike. So Marty, just state your name for the record, and then reminder you've got 3 minutes.
You bet. Marty Weiss, Seaside. Nothing to do with my letter, but I want to say that we miss Jackson very much, and we want him back at the pool lifeguarding. We don't know what happened, but those of us who know him from the morning swims really miss his customer service, his dedication, his friendliness, very respectful, and he's just a wonderful young man. So he was a real asset, and there's a real hole now since he's been gone, a real hole. And like I said, we talk about him just about every day, how much we miss him. So if there's a way to get him back, Catherine, the board, I'm asking on behalf of those who I spoke with, and you know me, I speak with a lot of people. To the board, on Thursday, May 2nd, pool manager Lindsay Wolf visited with her sister Ashley during her 9:30 to 10 a.m. rotation on guard duty. They chatted the whole half hour, during which time Lindsay took her eyes off the lap pool numerous times. I mentioned this to board member Sue Coddington as she was attending the 9 o'clock class and was in the therapy pool and witnessed their conversation. Speaking of Ashley, wondering if the board knows that she walks around pretty much all morning with her son, carrying her son around. As a swim instructor, I'd like to know why she's on the clock at 9:30 in the morning when lessons don't begin until 4 in the afternoon on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is a real concern to me. She's getting paid, she's on the clock, but she doesn't work until 4. And what is she doing from 9:30 to 4? I mean, and I think that the district, this is district money that we're talking about, and the board needs to be better stewards of that money. I would ask that the board investigate, find out what's going on, find out what her schedule is, and find out if that schedule is an appropriate schedule for the job she has. As far as I know, she's an aquatic instructor, that's how she's listed. And she does swim instructor. That's how she's listed. If she's a swim instructor, those lessons don't happen until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why is she there at 9:30? And she's walking around with her baby. If she does in fact have other job duties, how does she get them done with her baby in her arms? I ask that the board follow up regarding the situation and do a full investigation. No employee is entitled to this kind of privilege, not even the pool manager's sister. And I ask that this letter be included in the minutes of tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Skylar, if I could ask you to put that along with that, your minutes, thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Do we have any other public comment online or?
Oh, I had 2 more seconds.
There's no other participants online or nobody else checked in.
Okay. Moving on to new business, the fire alarm update with change order request with Convergent and Cost Group in attendance via Zoom. Hi, Chris.
Hi, everyone. You got my audio?
Yeah, you're great, Chris.
Great. I'll reintroduce myself for any board members that don't know me. Chris Mastrandran with Klosh Group, underrepresentative for the district, working on Sunset Rec Center, some improvements that we're doing there, as well as overseeing some of the master planning, strategic planning efforts that we're doing. On the call today, we have John Mandoli. He is with Convergent Technologies, who was the selected fire alarm contractor for the SRC fire alarm replacement project. A lot has transpired since our RFP that we had competitively bid out for the fire alarm replacement. We have since been able to get through the permitting process with the city, which took a lot more time than any of us had expected. Luckily, we've gotten through that milestone through the reviews, through fire commercial review and approval as well. And we're ready and excited to start as early as next week on Monday to start with some of the fire alarm replacement. And it'll be a phased project that will move kind of in quadrants around the SRC in order to get it completed while keeping the majority of the fire alarm system that is currently there up and operational. Tonight, for your consideration, we have a change order to discuss. Now that we have finished the permitting process and have really started to dive into the nuts and bolts on the installation, there's been a number of things that have come up regarding existing duct smoke detectors and sprinkler flow and tamper switches that have become sort of an obstacle in terms of how we're going to maintain those devices and their connectivity with the fire alarm system while we're installing a new one. So along with those, we've come up with some solutions in order to do so. There will be a cost impact in order to keep some of those existing devices up and running that were above and beyond what should have been anticipated in the original scope of work, if you will, that went out with the RFP. So I'm understanding these costs just got formalized like towards the end of last week, so I apologize that they probably did not make it into your board packets, and some board members might be seeing this for the first time right now. But again, I brought John onto the call, and we can answer any questions that board members may have regarding those costs. So the first change order cost to the tune of around $13,000 is to overcome the obstacle that we have for the sprinkler flow and the duct detectors. The next cost, which is a zero cost change, is in regards to the pull stations that currently exist throughout the building. The original scope was that we're going to install the new fire alarm system and then take down the old one after the new one has been installed, tested, and certified, being deemed complete. If you follow that logic or thinking, then each of the manual pull stations, which there are approximately 23 in the building, you would need to install new pull stations right next to an existing pull station. And then once the new system is up and running, you would deinstall, I guess, or abandon in place the existing pull station, which not only would not make a lot of sense in terms of logistics, but you'd also have to come back, demo out that junction box in the wall and the conduit, and come and patch and paint. So in lieu of doing that, we would like to just use the existing pull station locations, and during this sort of transition period between the two fire alarm systems, we'll make sure that those are still up and running until the new system takes over. So that reduces the need to do patch and paint throughout the building, and again, overcomes the redundancy of having two pull stations right next to each other, one functioning or one not. And then lastly, during the fire alarm review with the city and the authority having jurisdiction, the fire marshal actually added 2 additional fire alarm annunciators, remote annunciators, at 2 different locations in the building. For our record and the engineer record, this is above and beyond code, but again, it's what the fire marshal had prescripted in his review that he wanted to see those. So the third part of the change order is the additional fire alarm annunciators, and that cost is to the tune of $9,826. So that's that last cost impact. So again, I understand that board members probably have not been able to see this information, so I decided to bring the source. If you guys had any questions that I cannot answer in terms of the fire alarm change order, that is for your consideration tonight.
My first question, what is an annunciator? Is it just a speaker that makes things louder? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so John can jump in here, but the fire alarm remote annunciator is basically a device that will sit on the wall. And really there's, I think, a number of things that it can do, but what it can do for, like, responding fire personnel is if they're coming in, like your current annunciator is in the staff office that's right there in kind of the south part of the building, in the middle of the building. Now we're going to add 2 additional ones in the building, one at the north entrance where the double doors are. And basically what it can do is when responding fire personnel make their way into the building because they got paged and there's an active event, it will say on there, it'll read out which device is going off and where. And so it can give them up-to-date information on where potentially the fire event in the building could be. John, anything to add for the remote annunciator?
I'll be back.
John, do you have audio?
No, I do. Can you help me? I have mine.
We can hear you, John, but it's pretty faint.
Yeah, John, you're a little faint, if anything.
How about that?
That's better.
Much better.
Yeah, that always helps you turn the microphone little thing arm down and put it in front of your mouth, right? Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. That was perfect.
Okay, thank you.
I would just share, sorry, you don't have this document, but I just sent it to you electronically, and I have copies available. Like Chris mentioned, we got it after the board packet had already been published, and so that's why it's not included in the packet. That's why I didn't feel like it was appropriate to get it to you beforehand, so that you're not having access to information that the public doesn't have. So now you're discussing it in open session because it's a significant change. But yeah, go ahead.
So Chris, what was the total bid for the project?
Convergent was the lowest responsible bidder. They came in at, let me get the exact numbers here.
It was like $1.68 or something like that.
$188,900.
Okay. So when we authorized that, did we leave margin for change orders? Did we budget for change orders?
Yeah, so typically, like when Skylar and I put together what we consider the budget for this fire alarm replacement project, on our end, on the owner's side, I always advise that we carry some form of contingency for things exactly like this. So the last anticipated cost report, I think that I had shared with Skylar, we are budgeting approximately 10% for contingency.
Okay, well, this is 9%. So are there gonna be other contingencies coming up?
Well, the definition of contingency is money that you're holding for things that, you know, are unforeseen. While I'd like to say, no, I don't think anything else is coming up, I can't with certainty say that.
Can you tell, oh, sorry.
Just one final, and in the context of the change order, is there a change in the timing, change in when the product will be delivered?
No, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I worked with Convergent through a couple of meetings when this change order was being discussed and we were going through the finer details of it. And Convergent, if you recall, the RFP that originally went out, we put together a timeline thinking that we could actually get started in like at the end of the year of last year, December, starting with installation. So here we are, due to the permitting issues that we had with the city, we're going to get started here in early June. So that's 6 months or more off from when Convergent actually thought this project would go. And as you all know, escalation just for labor and material costs are a very, very real thing. And Convergent, and you'll see this at the very end of their change order, they have decided to not pursue any additional dollars that they could in terms of escalation for material and labor out of good faith for this project and wanting to get it done. So that's something that they have committed to. And right now we are currently looking at a early June start, and we need to be wrapped up and complete by, I believe it's the end of September, in order to make sure that we don't fall into an area where, you know, there could be additional costs due to a schedule delay.
But right now, there's no scheduled delay planned with the change order, right?
That's correct. There's no, yeah, I mean, we originally thought it would be about a 3-month install. We're still looking at about a 3-month install. We're just unfortunately getting started in June and not December.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
So, understand, my question was gonna be around, percentage of scope that's completed, but your description just now answered that. So, my other question is do we feel like we're through with discovery, except for things that might come up during installation? Like, have we gone through the process with the city, like, there's the planning portion where we would discover changes?
Yeah, Chris, can I speak to that, Chris?
Yeah, you sure can.
Yeah, thank you. And that kind of dovetails with the contingency question too. So design is done. We are stamped and approved drawing at that point. So our discovery is complete. Our design is complete. And so it's not, of course, all of the, you know, contingency is sometimes also called risk dollars. Although there's, you know, always some risk in the install phase, the biggest gap is what you don't know until you dive in and start actually designing it. So we're through that piece. And so we don't anticipate surprises. All equipment and material is available, and it's on our construction schedule. So, you know, we're planning on jumping on this you know, over the next couple of weeks, in the electrical contractor as well.
And
Go ahead.
do we know how this impacts what this does to our budget? Well, is this under this current budget year, and does this kick us into a supplement kind of situation? Or?
It doesn't, but yeah, it was budgeted for this year.
Okay.
I think we budgeted for more than the contract award was for, because at the time of budgeting, we didn't know. We were kind of working on rough estimates. I think, I don't know if there's a high level of concern, but we'll closely be monitoring how the billing plays out, like the timing of the billing, because obviously it will run into next fiscal year. Most of the project will run into next fiscal year.
Okay.
But at this point, it's something that we can't really avoid, and we know that this is work that has to occur, and it's been in motion for a long time now. It's hopefully this is like the one last little speed bump before it gets going and gets completed.
Need a motion?
I have a question. So the 9,000 plus, for the 2 enunciators that take us above code, is there a way to, since we're looking at a 10% option, is there a way to, put that toward the end, and so that nothing else is discovered? And if that's the case, then we can go ahead with this, these 2 enunciators that take us above code status?
Well, I think though that they were part of the approval process, right? Like, yeah, so the chief of the fire department, requested those, and in order for us to get the permitting, we had to say, okay, we'll do it. So even though it's above code, that was part of the approval.
That is correct. For lack of better purposes, it's not really an option. We designed the fire alarm, interfaced it, per NFPA, standards. And, there is a clause in there that basically states that any local fire marshal, can request and go above and beyond, for what they need during the permit review. And that's what occurred. And I think it's important to note, that this change order, even with the added labor, for the first part, like the 13,000 that's added, convergence is still tens of thousands under the competition, the second closest. And no matter what fire alarm contractor was selected, the fire marshal, his impact on the project, based on adding those 2 enunciators would have been felt, no matter if it was Convergent or AROC or Iconopro or any of the others that proposed.
And I appreciate safety first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it adds to safety.
Yeah,
It does do that.
I'm all for that. It's just, we do have a budget we have to make. Thank you.
So do you need a motion from us for you to sign said change order, or?
Sign or maybe just, approve. I think, I don't know if I'm gonna sign a document. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I think just that the board approves this change order. And, if the board has, thoughts on, knock on wood, hopefully no future change orders will come, but how the board wants to handle those if they come, if there's a monetary amount that they want to set for this project, if they want to refer to our purchasing policy, and how they want to.
How much are you authorized to spend without board approval?
It's usually, I think it's, I want to say it's $25,000 if budgeted and $10,000 if not.
Can we authorize him to approve change orders up to his spending authority? Up to $10,000?
That's consecutive, like if you had 10.
Oh, serial change orders?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We could just make it a matter of practice to bring change orders back to the board meeting. I think that's fairly common for public bodies.
I think it's just good transparency for the project, which we want transparency for this project.
But I don't want to slow down the process.
Correct.
Waiting for board approval. We could approve it, I guess, electronically or something like that.
Well, we can call a emergency meeting, it's an emergency thing.
I think the parties that we're dealing with, Convergent and certainly Quash Group, they're aware with the public meeting laws, and they'll kind of play around the schedule of knowing. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like these things can be anticipated, several weeks out and sort of laid out, and the work can continue. It doesn't have to halt, and then we get it approved and move forward.
Chris and Skylar, forgive me, how long, so if we start next week, how long is this process going to take? September?
I believe it wrapped up in, the end of September there.
So we have a few months.
So Scott,
Yeah.
will this change order amount, which is $23,000 roughly, will that affect next year's budget?
That's a great question. I think probably better question for Chris, but speaking off the top of my head, I'm not sure if it will affect it in a significant way. I think it will affect contract services under admin, which is probably what this is going under this year, or maybe SRC. SRC contract. So yeah, it eats into that, slice of the pie that we have reserved for this type of work to occur next year.
But you're not suggesting we change next year's budget
I'm not.
based on this
No.
change?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think enough should roll over to
Yeah.
still be good.
So I move that we acknowledge and approve the change order as submitted by Convergent and Concord.
So, are we doing all three together?
It's under one change order.
One change
On the,
order.
it's just if you look at the, it's like A, B, and C kind of a,
I think if you just call it,
challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3.
Celeste had it worded, so
Yeah.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify aye, opposed nay. Kyle? Sue?
Aye.
Celeste?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, John, and
Chris.
Chris, thank you. Sorry, it's been a
Thank you
long
all.
day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Okay, moving on now to correspondence, which there was correspondence.
Yeah, it's not every day that we actually get correspondence back, so appreciate Congresswoman, Bonamici responding to our request that we sent about the Special District Grant Accessibility Act, and as you can see, the bill passed in early May, and so I think that in the future that may open up some opportunities for grants and for funding that haven't necessarily been available to special districts. So
Is it still, so it still needs to pass the Senate though, when is?
it does.
Yeah, did we write a similar letter to the Senate?
We did, yeah.
Okay. Good job.
And
I'm sure it was because of
Bonamici
I feel like it.
is out. This is her last term, right?
I think she ran and she won the primary
She won the
overwhelmingly.
primary.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought
She may have
she
even
was
ran
moving
for
on to
votes.
something else and we were getting.
not her,
Two
voted for her.
That's, that may be, what is that? Wasn't it just the primary, yeah, sorry, I get
Yeah, I get home.
I saw the signs everywhere. Okay,
Approval of board meeting minutes from April 23rd, 2024.
I did get a couple of corrections from, I think, Catherine early on, and appreciate those, but those should have made this most recent cut.
I don't remember what they were. That was so long ago.
It was,
But they were minuscule.
grammatical.
Yeah.
You need a motion for this?
If there are no questions, comments, concerns,
No amendments or edits?
I have no comment.
okay.
I will move approval of the board meeting minutes of April 23rd, 2020.
There's not a second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify aye, opposed nay. Kyle?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Celeste?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Review financials from April of 2024. I feel like we're in fairly decent shape. Do you feel like we're in fairly decent shape? I feel like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah? Are we in good shape? I feel like we are. Yeah.
Soft landing.
Yeah, I think we're looking at this over the course of the days leading up to this meeting and feeling confident about some of our revenue and exceeding expectations. I think there's a few kind of outstanding things that are, bigger balloons that are sort of hanging on the tree with completing a large transaction, which still has not been completed. We have a few outstanding invoices with some partners for current and previous projects. So I think those will change the numbers a little bit. yeah, feeling good about what's in our control, and, we've definitely, been, I think, mindful of, our expenses and trying to enter next fiscal year in a as healthy a projection as we can.
Be fiscally responsible.
We always are trying to do that, but yes, definitely, just more mindful of it right now as we wrapping up this fiscal year.
Then you said there's a big ticket item that hasn't been booked yet.
Yeah. So we haven't completed our part of the intergovernmental agreement payment for not the current project, but the previous turfing of Broadway Field. We owe a third of that cost, and we also haven't, the transaction selling the Visitors Bureau property has not been completed yet either. It had a challenge in survey and being recorded accurately, and now it's has another challenge or technical error with the title company. So it's something that I'm pretty much checking in on every day, and it's taken a lot longer than I feel like it should have, but it hasn't completed yet.
So that revenue hasn't hit the books
Correct.
yet, but and then what's the turf project? What's our?
Oh, our portion. I was gonna say it's around 250.
It's like 247 or
Okay,
something.
okay,
like
so-
that.
Was that in our budget? Oh,
Yeah.
It was.
it was in our budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't know exactly how it was gonna shake out because the city and the school district were still sort of playing around, but we knew from the previous IGA that we were gonna be a third, and we still ended up being a third, just the school district for the city's portion.
Oh, so, but this is for this returfing?
This is for the football and soccer.
Got it,
and
okay.
baseball
I thought you
returning,
meant like
not the current project.
previous, I thought you meant we were carrying forward.
Oh,
like
no,
from-
not that one. It was just,
Long time ago.
yeah,
and baseball.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, football
Got
and
it.
baseball.
What is the holdup on paying that since it's done?
Yeah, we
Right.
were just honestly waiting until the Visitors Bureau
Oh, got it.
transaction was
Okay.
completed, just, yeah, for our cash flow purposes and things. And
Okay.
we had kind of, just some other things occurring with the school district where we're sort of back and forth on a couple things, but we'll have it tied up soon.
Will it have any impact on next year's budget if that money doesn't come through?
Yeah, probably.
If it
I mean,
doesn't come through till next fiscal year.
The Visitors Bureau money?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Honestly, we've had it cleared, our part for at least 2 months now. I think the board authorized it in the March meeting to complete the transaction, so.
Is the title company feeling confident to get that settled soon?
It seems like it, but,
Okay.
yeah.
The lawyer
kinda
that works
like-
for the title company has total authority.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a busy restaurant and they're like, it'll be 10 minutes, and then you check back in 10 minutes later, and it's 10 more minutes.
Or 20 more.
And then by the time you know it, you've been there like an hour and a half, and you know, set. So I'm not saying that's all due to the title company. There was this other challenge with the survey that had to get re-recorded, something did, and that slowed us down also. So
Okay.
I'm optimistic that it will get completed.
Did we have to pay for the?
We shared costs with the city on that part of the transaction.
Great. Any other questions on the financials?
Nice piece of work.
Actually, I asked all my questions earlier.
Good job, Sue.
Yes, it was on
I
the board.
move we accept their financials
From
April 2024.
Perfect,
Second.
thanks, Mike. Thanks, Kyle. All in favor, signify by opposed, say aye. Sue? Aye. Celeste?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye. Moving right along to Miss Zoe. Your turn.
Back again.
That's what you get when you have too many hats.
Y'all know me.
Sorry, 1 second, I was just trying to get your screen.
I can do it. Please welcome the fabulous Zoe Manhire to present and talk on special events, of which she is the queen. How's that? I like your opening, it's very pretty.
Oh, thank you. So special events is near and dear to my heart because I was hired here in 1998. Mary plucked me out of the University of Oregon right after, the day after graduation, I started here just doing special events. And so I have a long history with special events here, and then I sort of moved around throughout the district all these years, and left for a little bit and came back. And so this presentation is just focused on the events from when I was hired back on last March as the event coordinator.
Zoe, can I pause you one second?
Yeah.
Sorry. You'll probably remember that Zoe presented, I think, in October or November maybe, but she kind of has a couple different hats. So she programs all of our recreation and fitness classes and things like that, as well as special events. But tonight, she's just focusing on events and market. And for you, I just needed you to know this is only half of
Which hat she's wearing?
her
I
job.
already gave you the other hand.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Too much to do, present in one meeting. So this is just a little reel of events that, a little video that Rock made us, highlighting events since last March. I think Mike Hinton's up here somewhere. It was a long night, wasn't it? This year we supported the SPDA on their Witches Paddle, which was fun, for their Halloween happening.
How do you manage to get sunny days for all these outdoors?
I know. We lucked out, and you know that's November.
That's
Yeah,
planned.
that's November.
She's got connections.
You can only fit so many people in that pool.
That is quite the tan line. That's a little gentleman.
So special events are really important to Parks and Rec. It meets our mission or our vision, which invites families to play together. It promotes health and wellness. It reaches out to our broader community so that we can promote our programs for the ones that don't come directly to our facilities. We want to bring more people in. And it creates memorable moments for kids to grow up with positive feelings about Park and Rec. I didn't have a Park and Rec when I grew up in Florence, Oregon. But we had a couple events, and they really meant a lot to me. I always look forward going to the Rhododendron Festival. It's a big one for me. So I love special events, and we are a very small town to have the Park and Rec that we have, and we're very lucky, and our community is lucky. Participation is back to pre-pandemic numbers. Obviously, the farmers market and our egg hunt and our fall fun fest are our largest events. Turkey trot has grown. In fact, 56% are coming from out of town, so we were able to get support from the tourism grant this year that Aaron wrote and got for us. Oh, no. Sponsorships and grants. I gave you all a packet. When I came on, I created the sponsorship contract and packet, and we put it on our website, and I've gone out and about, and we were able to bring in over $30,000 of sponsors and grants. And again, this is talking about from March now to March, so it doesn't even include Darren's $3,500 he got for grants this year for the turkey truck.
So Zoe,
Yeah.
are there user fees associated with these events?
Sponsors?
No, do
some.
people have to pay for the chalk
Yes,
art
some are.
contest or
We keep,
for the fall fun
the chalk
fest?
art, is, yes, a user fee because the chalk is so expensive.
Right.
So we do charge, a small fee. Most of our fees are pretty affordable. We try to keep them down. Of course, the market can come for free. Egg hunt's free. Treasure dive, we have to charge to help, just limit the numbers because we can only fit so many people into our pool, and also helps offset the cost of lifeguards. Family dance, we have a family fee, so we keep the fees down low and that's why these sponsors allow us to do that.
Mm-hmm. So do we have a, measure of how much it costs for us to put on these different events?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a metric so we know?
Well, I mean, I have a budget for each event.
So you're operating just off your budget? That's
Yeah.
what our sponsors will be.
Right.
Okay.
Minus my, wage. Most, like, the family dance was paid for this year, the egg hunt was paid for.
But, well, my question is, how do we know if it's enough to pay for the event? How do we capture our costs, all of our costs in those things?
Well, we try to capture all our costs because I try to get enough sponsors to cover our costs. I make my own budget for each event,
but
and
how
then
do
I
you-
go out and seek the sponsors,
Okay.
knowing how much I need to bring in.
Right, but those costs are probably not all in, they're probably just labor and materials and services.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then the farmer's market, I was able to get them to commit, really, forever, to a higher amount for Providence Hospital, and that was a big thing. And we actually, my goal is to grow the farmer's market sponsorship to make the farmer's market sustainable, to actually pay for itself. And I believe it can. These are all our sponsors. Our largest sponsor is Providence Seaside Hospital, Lewis and Clark, and TLC, Toyota. They're all, and Pacific Power are all large sponsors. Our grants come for the farmers market from the Farmers Market Fund and our Double Up Food Buck Oregon. And then every one of these either help with through sponsorships or donations or in kind.
Can I ask, Zoe? So first of all, great job putting together this presentation, and like the video is just wonderful to see that. And I don't know that I've seen a presentation like this of all the sponsors from websites, and it's really impressive. And I'm just wondering, like, is there a way to increase visibility so that the rest of our community is sure to see?
Well, we do put our sponsors, like, depending on the levels, and if you look in here,
Yeah?
it's back here in the sponsorship package, it actually says what they get for their levels and what kind of exposure they get.
Okay.
And, so some get on our website, some get in the social media, posts that come out, some get on the poster, so it depends on what level of sponsorships they have provided us. And then some get on the radio, and then we do put all of them in our program guide.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
That's a good question.
So how do you measure success
For
for any of the
events,
special events? Yeah.
that's a good question. For me, I mean, I have different goals. Like, success for me personally is I want to get it paid for. Because that's just the way I work. And then the other goal is, you know, is the event fun? Are the participants enjoying themselves? Is the community happy there? So, you know, the success for me is not just the numbers of how many are participating, but whether they are happy and enjoying themselves. Because those memories are what they're going to remember and have those good feelings about Park and Rec. And they're going to be looking for Park and Rec as they grow older.
So we served about 2,700 people, 2,800, I don't know, rough numbers in.
Well, if you count the farmers,
But not
Market.
counting the farmer's market because we can't.
yeah. Because that's about probably
So in the
14,000
really,
people.
but the farmer's market it's different from the other special events.
It is
Right? I
different.
mean, it's not,
I still consider each farmer's market, each date, a separate event, each week.
yeah.
And so that's how I present it to the sponsors.
So we serve outside the farmer's market, we don't even know, it's hard to keep track of how many people show up there. I guess
Our turkey trot has actually grown quite a bit, and I'm hoping to bring it to 500 this year, so.
So if you back out the farmer's market, which is 5,500, then we spent about $25,000 to serve 2,700 people for special events. Am I putting that together correctly?
I don't know, I'd have to sit down and actually.
I mean, I'm just
I
looking
can't
at
do math like
the
that.
dollar numbers are about 30,000, and the activity numbers are about 2,800, somewhere in there.
You
And
getting
then
that
back out
from this slide, Kyle?
These
Yeah.
are just my revenues for sponsorships, they're not,
Right, yeah.
Right.
these are sponsorships coming into us, this
Right.
isn't what it's costing us.
Okay, so what is it costing us?
It'd be on the.
That would be in our budget,
Yeah,
on the
financial
special
report.
events budget,
Okay.
It's probably better.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is interesting to just think about it, like, just as a comparison, like the farmer's market, if we have, let's say we go 1,000, and I think it's more than 1,000.
It is on some, in
Right.
some times, it's gonna go up to 1,200,
But even if it was only 1,000 people total for the
Yeah.
whole summer,
yeah.
the cost per person is $15.
Mhm.
Whereas Chalk Garden is $111 per person. But I do think there's a question about whether or not we capture, because the Chalk Art contest doesn't only have 27 participants. It has all the
Hundreds of
people that
observers,
Yeah,
find
yeah.
with the
Right,
chalk,
so,
with the
yeah.
chalk art, there were 27 participants, there were 800 spectators walking by.
Correct,
There were 300 people that actually voted online with the QR code.
So, yeah, those are really important engagement kind of
Yeah,
metrics to
exactly.
try to figure out, because I do think there is a point, like, to figure out, like, and what are, like.
And then we reach engagement through our social media too,
Right.
which is like several thousand for each event. We get like at least 5,000 hits on looking at our events,
I thought it was
whether they come or
impressive
not.
that I had people asking me a week later, I want to go see the chalk art. Well, if there's anything left, and what was left was, robins. Robins was still faded, but everything else was washed away, but they could stop and see it. And I thought, for a week later, to have somebody say that was successful.
But yes, there is more than just the participants that come. I mean, it's allowing us to promote and expose ourselves and our logo and our brand and our activities and opportunities through Park and Rec, through other means, just by having the event.
Dialogue and discussion.
And all the flyers we send to the schools, which is about 700 at every event. So like, it's getting out there to the community that Park and Rec is doing stuff.
Yeah.
Question. That was great to see a snapshot of all the sponsors. You've done a great job, marvelous job, unexpected, unanticipated, over-the-top job of getting sponsors. What I was thinking about is the other types of events that happen, which are starting to happen more at the SRC. For instance, this last year, Consejo Hispano put on a wonderful festival.
That was
What
awesome.
they call Latinx, and it was free. And they're boosting us with their events.
And we are a part of that, actually.
And we are part of that, and I thought it would be interesting to see these other community events, and people that stage events with us. They should be part of the picture the community understands, because that will help us build community.
Right, and we do help support them through promoting their event, I'm at every one of those Consuelo planning meetings, so I'm a part of it, and we do promote their event through.
Yeah. We may absorb some expense in there too, but
We do.
I'm sure it's all balanced
But
out.
it's absorbed.
It's nice to recognize those events too.
But I think why do we not call that our event?
Because they were the ones that initiated I mean, they were really they used our facility and we lended support to the planning and to the execution of the event, but it was their event. It was through their contacts that.
We don't manage the budget for that event.
Yeah, but just when we think about the district, particularly with the new buildings, their new facilities, do we have to run something in order to call it a Park and Rec offering?
Like our senior meals every day.
Like, do we have to, I mean, it's
Well, we run the
something,
senior meal.
can it be part of,
Right.
so for instance, if we were gonna do a catalog of all the events through Park and Rec that are
Oh,
available,
sure, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
does it, why can't we,
Yeah.
because I do think it's a matter of
I think we
taking,
can.
Yeah.
I think it's
We could put them in the program.
Yes.
affirming that event into our, making it a staple like we have.
Part of
our
your
other
event.
events, right, and kind of adding it in, and, I guess we did the first year, and that was great, and then I think we all said, we gotta do this again, and we did it last year, and then now we're kind of in that mode where it's sort of becoming entrenched
Yeah.
into our culture and to their culture too. And we already have a date locked in, so maybe for fall, we can do more of that kind of, I don't know, lumping it in and, yeah.
Connecting it to our event.
It's a bit of a shift in mindset,
Yeah.
in thinking about when we talk about something offered through Park and Rec, whether or not our staff have to actually be in charge of it, or can it be a partnership, or that we're just using part of our assets, part of our space, part of our marketing bandwidth, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and be able to call it a Park and Rec offering, because I think actually that the community doesn't get in the weeds and say, well, who's actually having the budget? Who's actually, I think it's an important thing, because what I don't want is for us to miss the marketing opportunity and the communications opportunity to say all of this becomes available to the community.
Exactly.
Partly because of Park and Rec, right?
Especially since we're trying to reach that
Yeah,
culture.
and I think actually because we have the facility available to us, I think it maybe also opens us up. I mean, obviously, you're doing a great job in the partnerships with all the sponsors, but maybe there are more offerings through Park and Rec that would be available if we don't have to carry the whole workload.
Yeah.
Right, like if we can recruit other people to put on their events through Park and Rec, and then we don't have to manage, so it's less costly. And that way we can focus on the things that we are proven, that are working well for us.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's pretty amazing, there's 7,200 people in change in Seaside, and we're serving a third of those in special events every year. Not count, and some of those are gonna be from out of town, and some of those are gonna be duplicates, the same people attending multiple events. But to to be able to capture that percent of our population.
But those same people
That's
from out of
amazing.
town are also learning about it, and they're coming to our school, and they're.
Yeah.
And they're getting healthier and safer and all the benefits that go with recreation.
Do we maintain, like, I mean, it seems to me that part of when you talk about return on investment, aside from the monetary angle of it, like, are we building our mailing list as we're having all those new people from Portland?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
We are. In fact, I send to past participants, I always send the next event and the other events, so I do utilize that.
Fantastic.
Is there capacity to do more in the future? Or are we sort of tapped out?
No, I think it's a good question, sorry. So you can answer if you'd like. I have some thoughts, but you go first.
I mean, I think someday, but we would need to, we need
Okay.
another staff person.
I got it, I understand, okay.
There's only one me. And,
Well, that's why we want to bring in more revenue for you. I mean, in all seriousness, or look for ways to expand that don't take so much.
Exactly.
I know there's an
This
Augie
is a good
vampire on
example.
that board there.
Yeah, but I think he's going to college in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you move on to that page, what's OFMA?
Oregon
Farmers
Farmers
Market
Market Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or the fire marshal association.
I know, it could be anything, sorry.
It's green.
One of the cool things about creating the sponsorship contract and having it on our website is that about 5 of those sponsors actually came to me this year, just by finding it on our website. So that was kind of a cool turn of events. I didn't have to go knocking on doors all the time. So I'm hoping to get to that point, to just ease up my job a little. So less knocking on doors and then coming to us because they're hearing about us and they want to be a part of this cool stuff. So we are also Pacifica project mentors, well, I am, for our Pacifica kids, which is, they're presenting tomorrow night if you want to go see their presentation. And one thing that came to me, I had this lady who was from Astoria, and she's in charge of what's called the Dance Now Club. And it's a county-wide club that is for adults with special needs. And they do activities, and they were doing activities with other groups, but they just weren't getting the support they needed. And so they had called me and asked me, hey, can we do a dance, somewhere in one of your facilities? And I just happened to have Brandon, who came to me and said, do you have a project for me? And so it just kind of worked out. I asked Skyler, can we do this? He said, yes. So Dance Now did a New Year's Eve dance for adults with special needs, and Brandon put it on. We had a planning committee, and it took like 3 months to plan it. It didn't cost us anything but the space, and a few shared some of my decorations for dances, my disco lights. And it was a great event. It was free. It was for adults 18 years and older with special needs. And it was held at the Bob, and it was a lot of fun. Caregivers came, and families came, and it was awesome. It was about 40 participants. And now they're scheduled here for a Dance Now Club meeting, which could be a dance, or it could be just social hour every third Thursday of the month, and they start in June. So we're providing a service for them, but that's that. And we promoted it on our site. And so that's one of the things that really didn't cost us anything, but it's a cool event, and they're starting to do now. So that's
I think that's a great example of something
Yes.
that now we're offering, or we're a partner in offering, even if our staff don't have to pull the whole thing off.
Yeah, and I don't really have to do anything for that. They do it all. It just provides them a space and the disco lights.
But I think you should count those numbers in your participants.
Yeah,
Especially-
see, I didn't because it's technically not in my budget, so I only did that. But yes, we could. And then we did the community egg hunt. I had a senior participate with that. And sadly, he had called me and said that he couldn't graduate because he didn't get all his credits. And they just told him now.
But he got the credits for his
He did get
participation.
it, yeah. And chalk art contest, they'll be there tomorrow presenting, and then the run walk for change, they'll be there presenting, including my son. So, that's another thing that does take time, but it's our investment into, the kids of our community, and also, and they'll remember, again, those memories of working with Park and Rec. In fact, Lindsay was one of my Pacifica mentors back in the day.
Are those slots that you know ahead of time, like that you advertise through the school, saying like we have?
Mr. Haas does for me.
But you already know, so you know how many slots?
No, he sends me, he usually says, hey, I have these kids, where can you put them? Or I'll say, I have these events, do you have any kids that want to do it? And he will go, and I have gone there too, to talk about to the juniors every year. And I usually tell them all about the events, what we do, if they want to help, or other projects. Sometimes I tell them there's opportunities in youth programs as well. They want to lead sports or something like that. And we've had projects like that as well.
And what time is the project?
It's at 5 o'clock tomorrow at the convention
At
center.
the convention center.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I would encourage all of us to go, and actually, the more community members that can go, because you're watching, our seniors move off toward their future college or whatever their future plans are, and seeing them promote something for the environment, or for the local community. And it really is incredibly uplifting and rewarding to watch that.
It's also helpful if anyone could volunteer. I used to volunteer to be the panelist, but this year I wanted just to be there to watch my son, so. I did. But they're always looking for volunteers to be panelists.
Yes, I am.
Huh?
I'd be a fan.
Yeah.
Well, then,
We need-
you'll have
we
to
need-
talk
we
to
need-
Catherine about the panelists.
We need more.
You're still looking for panelists?
No, I think we're actually good, because we went down one classroom this year because of the amount of projects, so I think we're okay.
So new at the farmer's market last year, I introduced a online vendor application process. Everything used to be by hand application. But I found that many farmers markets in our region are now just going to completely online applications, because it simplifies it. It allows people or vendors to leave or enter their card and leave it on file, so you can have a cashless market and be able to just charge them as they come in for the day to set up. And so it's much more efficient. It also has the report, and it's much easier for financing and for me to also figure out where to put them all. So that was a new thing. It was challenging at first for some of the vendors who only go to our our market, but most of the others go to many markets, and so they were already used to it. So it's actually running efficiently this year for me. Seaside Farmers Market Committee, we formed the committee. We were supposed to have one, it somehow died off, and so we reformed it again with our management, some of our management staff, and that has really made a huge difference. So we now, as a group committee, we approve all the vendors, and we set the handbook, and it has really been much more efficient that way. I created a new musician contract, and we also are expanding our musicians to add some cultural music in there. This summer, we have a Cuban band coming, which is awesome. I started because Providence is such a large sponsor, I am now doing radio ads for the farmers market, and so they could get some exposure for helping us out, and it also promotes the market. Last year we did the young entrepreneurs, and this year BizKids is taking over to do it for me, so I don't have to manage the kids or manage their booth space. BizKids is with the 4-H organization, which I probably should have added them as a partner. I forgot that. Last year we had more than 60 vendors. This year we have almost 77. So we're kind of really busting at the seams in some spaces, so.
Is that, per week, or is that just rotating throughout the season?
Some were full all week, yeah,
Okay.
for 77, so and with some of the, to be fair, it might be more like 71 because some of the spaces require 2 spaces, like the food booth. So maybe it's more like 71. But we definitely have 77 tent spaces, but.
Do we have the ability to grow beyond that in that space?
Maybe once construction's done, we had to
Yeah.
really
Oh,
make
right.
sure that that area was safe so it's kind of, I'm curious to see what's gonna happen over there, like, once all
Yeah.
that's done, so.
We'll have a whole nother, parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That's where our vendors have traditionally parked, but yeah, we're kind of going with the flow this summer and still been able to increase vendor numbers, but I think we all have a heightened awareness about traffic and
Well, I'm actually
congestion
surprised.
and construction traffic, and
Yeah.
want to keep our market patrons safe, and also the vibe of the market, having a lot of dump trucks and moving trucks around is not necessarily something that you would associate with a farmer's market, so.
You gotta sell it as
We're going with
a
the
show.
Yeah.
I
Get the
was
kids
surprised,
excited.
I thought we'd have more vendor pushback by not having,
The
the parking space, but actually with a lot of markets, they're used to parking away,
Away.
so I think that's why.
Maybe we can like make them park down the road or something.
Yeah, that's where they're going to park.
Well, this year we have no choice.
Yeah.
And so barbecue food truck, that's what's new last year, everybody loved it, and they're coming back. We also,
That's the one that was at the pollinators?
yeah, maybe, were they at the home?
Yeah.
Oh, they were good.
Okay. And then, we also this year have a, Hawaiian food truck, or Hawaiian food booth, which is gonna be cool.
And we keep a booth there too, right?
We do keep an information booth, and
Okay.
it's our opportunity to promote, and we're gonna step up the promotions this year,
Oh,
because
good.
since we found out there's so many people coming to the market. We also started special events on Market Day, so throughout the market, we've had the Master Gardeners, they did the bucket of seeds last year, this year they're gonna do some little events, and we usually promote them on that day. We usually do a chalk art demo right before the chalk art contest, and that's really fun for the participants. And then in August, we do a pet photo booth. We have a artist that comes, or a photographer that comes up from California to do that. And so that's fun. And that doesn't cost us anything because, her mom is one of the potters, and so they just do it, and she donates the money to the pottery department.
Is there anything coming, to revisit the sand sculpture, type, events that were done many years ago here in Seaside? Because I'm hearing that is on its way back. And I'm wondering if we could promote, play in the sand in a booth. I mean, I don't
know. I've been here since '98 and I don't remember any sand sculptures.
I remember one.
They did it,
When I
and
very first
actually,
moved
I
down
know
here.
the guy who led that, and I talked to the tourism, group, and they're talking about bringing that back. So I don't know when, I don't
That
know
would
if,
probably be a chamber and, or
Yeah.
downtown event.
but letting kids play in the sand, so they can, and have somebody, I know the guy would be teaching, like Robin does. So I'm just wondering if something like that could be in the future.
Yeah.
Barriers,
Yeah.
tuned in.
Yeah, we'll watch for that, and I can ask around too at some of the meetings and from the key people. Last year, we increased our sponsorship participation, as you saw, and we're still working to increase more. I just had, a property, I thought it was gallery, but it's a property, management company who's also asking to sponsor as one of our green tomato sponsors for 3 different markets. So already I'm getting sponsors who are understanding that each market is an event, and they're willing to sponsor the separate weeks. And that's how we, that's how we grow that revenue so that we can, make the market pay for itself. We have increased SNAP and through grant money that has come in through the Oregon Farmers Fund, and also we had money come in Darren wrote a grant for the bilingual support. So we have Angelina out there, so she can speak Spanish to the Spanish speakers as she's doing the SNAP, and that has really helped and supported the market.
Is that one of our employees, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Who?
Angel.
Angelina was our
The
Class
intern.
of Works intern.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, she's been a real asset to us. And now she's headed to the school district for a little bit.
Sorry, it happens.
Who's still back?
I know, like, I feel like you guys take.
Well, she's still with us. She's still committed to my market.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Zoe.
Yeah,
Nice
thank you,
job.
Lori.
Awesome.
Hey, Zoe, the video that we saw in there, is that all just staff taking the video and you guys?
Some were pictures I took and some were Ross. I really made sure to have Ross because we had a contract with him and had him there at the events this year. So he did the drone, all the drone pictures are him.
Okay.
Is that video on our website?
Not yet.
Yeah, I'd love to see it on both the website and social media, because it was really well done.
It's well done.
Yeah.
Just seeing it
Yeah.
with the music and
Yeah.
behind that was really fun.
He just got it to me, so I will make sure that it's on all those sites and it gets recognition.
Good job, Zoe.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hold on, where are we? Old business. Goals.
So, Kyle and I have been able to work on that, and we provided draft to Skylar, an email just today, and hoping to meet with Skylar at some point so to get some feedback around that, and we will report back when we have a final draft for the board to review.
Okay.
But incorporated feedback from all of you, so thank you.
Fee review.
All right.
Take one.
Here you have a little fee review memo. This is designed to get us started, or not started, but I guess a proposal for you to consider. It's just based on lots of considerations, our previous discussions, a review of other agencies' fees, and I would just be mindful if this is a draft. The way I am sort of interpreting this process is that we've had lots and lots of discussions with a goal of ours in 2023 that we didn't complete, or I didn't complete, but been working on it since then, and just kind of shared out a few sort of considerations to make sure that we're all talking about the same things, speaking the same language, using the same terms. So we don't use the terms out of district or in district in our internal vernacular. We use resident and non-resident. So just that's the first consideration. Our fees, when looking at other agencies, and we've done a lot of analyzing those fees, but generally speaking, our fees are comparable, if slightly more affordable than our counterparts in the region and state. However, our out-of-district fees are typically at a higher percentage difference than other agencies, and that could be attributed to a few things, but I think the biggest consideration is that not a lot of other agencies have parts of their service area that aren't in the district. So like Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec doesn't have pockets of Beaverton that aren't paying into their property tax. Same with like a non-special district like the city of Astoria. There's not neighborhoods in Astoria that aren't paying property taxes. So we're really unique, and not really in a good way in this sense, because we have these two communities that are in our service area clearly that we're serving their population, but we're not collecting property tax from. last fee increase was, about 2 years ago, with previous increases occurring in November 2020 and April 2019. That 2 years ago change included a 33% overall increase, and we sought an alignment with out-of-district rates. They were kind of all over the place a little bit, but generally speaking, they're 50% more than the resident rate right now. We also, the board asked us to remove punch passes for non-residents, which provided a significant discount at that time for those punch passes, and we've done that. And then, I know that you all know this, but just quantifying a little bit, there's way more data available if you're interested, but minimum wage, has gone up substantially. There will be another increase in a month or so, but even just in the last 2 years, it's risen $1.20 an hour per employee, of course, and over the last 8 years, almost $5.50. And certainly, I'm not in the position or the mindset to complain about that. I think that those are good changes and obviously needed to help families afford the cost of living here and housing and other expenses. But that impacts us as an organization, as a business. Energy costs have also increased significantly. These are not necessarily percentages from our energy cost increases, but I would say that ours are at least this or more. So 33% increase over the last 2 years for electricity, and natural gas 20% increase over the last 2 years. So I'm just laying out one proposal. Thought about this substantially over the last couple of months and thought I could give the board 5 different options and they could choose, or I could say, here's one option. What do we like about this? Do we like none of it? If we don't like any of it, I can come back and propose something different. But if you flip the page, you'll see the proposed changes. It includes a pretty small or nominal increase to the resident rate, about 15% increase from our current fee structure, and then increasing the non-resident rate from about a 50% increase as it is currently to about an 80% increase. So substantial jump. That's based on the feedback and the conversations that we've all had at this meeting and individually that I've had with you all about this as well. So you'll see these are just the current rates for the Sunset Pool. Typically, I should note that we've allowed, or the board has allowed, program staff and myself to set the rates for programs, but we've sought alignment with that percentage difference as much as possible. With certain programs like preschool, summer camp, and things like that, it does get really difficult to make some of those really hard decisions. So sometimes we will use our best judgment based on other agencies, what they're charging, what we actually think the cost of services is worth, what we think the value of what we're offering is, to set those program rates for swim lessons, preschool, summer camp, those types of things.
Were these included in our 110% cost recovery thing that we did?
The current rates were not, because we actually completed the 110% under the previous rates. We've had one rate increase since then.
But remind me if I'm completely off base here, but the cost recovery had a formula, right, for each of these.
It did.
That formula would still, in theory, be accurate if we changed the number that we're charging.
It would be, but all of the factors in the formula have changed, because when we did the formula, like, we were basing it on our current, like, expenses, right, which are different now. And so, yeah.
We know what they are.
We do, yeah.
So we could use that formula to then recover our costs in this way, correct?
Yeah, I think, we have to, I guess, from my position perspective, and staff may feel differently, this could be a topic for a big discussion, is I don't know how we would accurately assess the value of the pool structure, for example. So we can say, we know a replacement pool is going to cost this much, well then does that get factored into cost recovery, or does fixing the pool boiler when it goes out and all the other systems that are needed to keep a pool operational, does that go into the cost recovery? You know, so those are kind of two different like scenarios, and it was really hard for us, and I think it's really hard for all agencies that have done that cost recovery process to accurately assess, especially in aging facility, the true cost of services. Now, you can do really easy work with labor, with utilities, with things like that, but assessing a facility cost where a program takes place is really difficult.
So a couple of things, I think, and I can hear, you know, challenges around being competitive for some of the other programs and stuff, but just to break it down, I mean, I think we have to, and I've said this, so for fear of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to just say it. So I'm currently paying $45 a month through my taxes to be a district member. So that should be considered. So actually, when a non-resident comes in, like my $45 per month should be, not $45,000, but my $45 per month should be considered, like that's what I'm paying each month for use of facilities. And the non-resident is coming in at zero. So I think, like, as we're making those decisions about paying more for other programs, like, I just think in order to be, I can hear being fair to folks that aren't residents, but we also have to be fair to people that are residents, that are paying those monthly dues. Because that is actually what they are, their monthly dues. And to point out, I think the other thing is I just did quick math, but our passes and open swim, which this all covers, right, accounts for $76,000 in revenue. But our recreation revenue is $300,000 per year, and our lessons are $70,000 per year. So I think it shows how important it is that our recreation fees and even special events fees, like all of those, to me, like we just have to remember that our residents are showing up at the door having already paid. And I just think that's really important to respect our residents. And I think it's also really important if we're ever going to get Deerheart or Canada Beach to join us, because otherwise it's just cheaper for them not to. So that's my so I would love to see this, but I'd love to see it for the recreation and lessons, you know, for the other places where we're charging patrons for something.
Yeah.
Because I think it should be across the board.
Okay.
And you know, I think there are non-monetary benefits that we should still look at giving to our residents, like early sign-ups for things.
I agree.
That is a non-monetary cost, but a benefit that is, you know, easy access. You get first access, first sign-up, get a week's notice, or, you know, whatever, 10 days, I don't know, whatever, but you get first crack at whatever it is. That doesn't cost us anything.
And it's incentive for non-residents
To
be
join.
part of the district, because there may not be seats available when they want to.
Correct, particularly for those swim lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a hot commodity.
Yeah, and so that sort of begs the question too, is that, so I'm just curious, like, how are we logging? I don't know that we're doing this currently, but maybe we are. Like, do we know if we took any revenue source, do we have visibility to how many, like, of the $70,000 in lessons? Do we know how much of that was in resident versus non-resident revenue?
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that that's important. And what do we do? Like, I should know this, but do we ask for address proof, or what? How do we determine residency?
Mail.
Covers them.
Yeah, we generally just ask for if they're a district resident, and if they have a look of confusion about them, then we may ask for a piece of evidence that shows their address, their physical address.
Yeah.
Sometimes different staff handle it a different way. There's We may ask them if they live in Seaside, but that doesn't obviously incorporate the whole district. So I think that's part of our opportunity is to get better at that process and working through that in a really systematic and organized way for each patron that asks, rather than kind of doing it willy-nilly.
Yeah, because it becomes pretty easy to, like, especially if you're on the spot as a staff person, to let somebody slip through, right? Like, I don't want to confront somebody and.
Yeah,
but I
well,
think-
and we also have lots of people here that are second or, part of a property. They, it's a family house, for example, or they're staying at a beach house, but maybe they don't pay property taxes, so they say, oh yeah, I'm staying at 1225 Avenue B.
Yeah, we have a family house
So
in Seaside, and
that happens.
there's 50 relatives that use it each year.
It gets a little.
They should be paying, they're from Portland, they should be paying.
Well, someone is paying, but yeah, then when those people come, are they saying I'm a district resident, or are they saying I live in Portland, I'm just here for the day, or for the week, right? So, it gets a little challenging.
So the budget is split about 50-50, it's about half taxes and the other half user fees. So it feels to me, and it feels to me like the taxes are paying for the infrastructure, the availability of the service, and the user fees are paying for the actual use of the service. That makes sense? So it almost seems like budget itself already kind of articulates what our own residents are paying and what that pays, not necessarily what it pays for, but it seems like that the taxes pay for buildings, the infrastructure, the administrative overhead, whatever, and then everything else, we pay, as we use the service, we only pay that amount, that's the user fee amount, but an out-of-district resident would have to pay their share of the capital expenditure as well as their user, the amount that it costs to provide the service.
Yeah, so, you can almost get there, you could math your way to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm just cocktail napkinning this thing, but it seems like it's kind of, we're really pretty close. And I can live with 80%. My concern is that I just want to make sure we have a way to take care of people who don't have the economic structure to learn how to swim on their own. If we need that.
Well, that's the
help,
foundation.
yeah, I know, but I just want to make sure there's an avenue for those people to get access if they need it. With the
Right.
foundation, do they pay for out-of-district residents?
Yeah, they will. What I'm hearing, just to synthesize a little bit, is that the board would like some discretion or at least review of program fees and possibly bringing those all to you, or at least bringing a proposal for resident versus non-resident rate. Is that fair? And then the second thing is to quantify and publish and maybe distribute the non-monetary value of being in the district, of being a resident, and that would include maybe early registration, access to services or programs, at least first, maybe exclusively that a non-resident doesn't have.
Are there other purposes we can put out there? It seems like there might be other things that are free to us that might be beneficial to our customers or patrons.
What about even merch, stuff that's available, merch and
Merch
snacks?
discount or
Merch
something?
discounts, yeah, we could do that kind of thing.
When I worked at the zoo, and I don't think they do it anymore because I've been a member for many years and we still haven't pursued them, but they used to provide when you signed up for an annual membership, they used to provide a, Oregon Zoo decal, and people would collect them. I mean, I had like 4 or 5 of them on my car. And it was free advertising for the zoo. You would drive your car everywhere around town, and people would see it and go, oh, you know, I should go to the zoo. And they truly were like a collector badge, like, oh, that's from that year, and that's from that year. And, you know, they didn't have years on them. They were just like a different animal every year. But they were a little decal that you put on your car, and you drive it around, and, you know, you knew that you were part of the special club that, you know, advertised for Park and Rec. We could do,
Yeah.
you know.
We're branding mechanism.
Yeah, but, and you would, you know, we could start seeing stickers on cars, come swim at the pool, come to the farmer's market, come, you know.
Maybe if they buy a season pass, they can have a decal of a swimmer or a basketball player or a racquetball player. And
Start
after a
collect-
few years, they
collect the-
collect all the.
Right now, it's play and seaside.
Pickleball player.
Do we have, does our POS let you, like, does it keep track of membership? Like, does it, once somebody's in, are they now in and?
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess
So, like,
maybe.
do you know how many times I come to the pool? Can
We
you
do.
look me up and
Yep.
see how many times I have?
Not as often as you should be.
Totally true, totally. I knew that
Well, I'm trying to
was
figure out how you
right.
pay for it, because I'm paying half that. My yearly pass is a whole lot less expensive.
No, she's talking about her taxes.
My taxes.
Oh,
You're
really?
paying on top of it.
She says it's $45 a month in tax.
It's taxes, how do you figure that?
What's
It's on your tax statement.
Do my taxes.
Yeah.
Divided by 12.
Divided by 12.
Yeah, I pay $540 a year. Okay.
I have.
Just for this district.
For this
Yeah.
district, yeah. So, which, you know, I believe in it, and it's important that we have this in our district, and I think it adds value to the community, which therefore adds value to my home. I think it's part of the reason that houses have inflated in value down here, is that we have this amenity down here. So I'm not complaining about it, it's just a matter of making sure that it's equitable for the people that are paying that. And, I mean, I would theoretically have to pay, in order to break even for the proposed fees, I'd have to swim 8 or 9 times to be even with the non-resident.
A month.
A month.
It's doable.
It's doable, I should do it. But I just think we have to look at the,
I definitely hear you, and I mean, this is, like I said, we're fine tuning something that's really difficult to kind of dial in, and I don't want to overstate this, but we're really without precedent, because this is just not a position that other Park and Rec special districts are in because of the dynamics of this particular district, the size and the community.
it had me thinking about, I also happen to be, I get the Nike employee discount. So every time I go in there, I have to show my ID, and they have me in their system. I don't have to fill out all the stuff, that got done once up front. But now I'm in, and it's worth the discount that I get to show my ID each time. And it becomes sort of a badge of honor. And so, you know, can we flip it into that, where we have the regular rate, and then the discounted?
So, yeah, that's something I think we've talked a little bit internally about, is having is flipping the mindset where it's, here's the posted rate and then here's the discounted rate.
Yeah.
It's 80% off or whatever it might be. Sometimes that gives people.
Oh, I like that.
That gives people, a different perspective on what their tax dollars are being used for, and the benefit of.
Yeah,
being a
You're
resident.
getting a discount.
Well, thank you for being a district member, we appreciate you, and you get a discount, right? But I do think it has to be a mindset flip, and I think, to me, when I look at where our revenue comes in for all of these user fees, the majority actually is the lessons and the recreation, not double fees.
Yeah.
And so, and I think your point is well taken, that, like, it's half of our revenue. We're not talking about peanuts, so it's substantial, and part of our growth plan to grow the district, to include your reach, hopefully, at some point. So I think, you know, I think it's important to be really strategic.
I think putting together, I really like the discount idea, spinning it a little bit, and putting together those non-monetary incentives and really defining the costs and the benefits and, I like Kyle's kind of point where your tax dollars are kind of paying for the building and for the maintenance.
The lights and.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I like
your
it.
fees are really what's paying for the use of the program, so the lifeguards and the heat and the, you know, of that day. Those are easily quantifiable numbers.
Well, they're easy to explain to the
Yeah,
patrons.
your fee is what is, you know, one lifeguard divided by however many people are swimming right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Not everybody has their tax dollars on, I mean, I appreciate Celeste's point, but, I would be concerned about some regular residents, bringing their tax statement in and being like, I'm paying, you know, because there's a lot of, it's just a very
Well-
polarizing political issue right now is taxes and where your tax dollars go to, and there's just controversy. You know what I mean, is what I'm saying. And I'm really mindful of, I think this conversation is great because we can have it appropriately and maybe even have differing perspectives. But what doesn't always translate is the interactions that frontline staff have to have on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah,
And I think you all are mindful of those, but those can be really challenging conversations. And I'm not saying we should avoid those and run from them. I'm just saying I want to make sure that we're in alignment of the challenge of that, these proposed changes or changes like this can have for those conversations, for those positions.
One of my first jobs when I moved down here was working at the hotel front desk, and it was under new ownership, and the owner doubled the fees for the hotel rooms without making any changes to services
Well, I knew that.
offered.
Sorry. Anybody who's photophobic just.
Yes.
Well, it's dark over here.
Without making any changes and being on the front line, I was yelled at and screamed at every single day because people were unhappy, didn't understand the changes and all that. So I'm very, very cognizant of frontline staff and being able to explain and also provide those extras and like, I love the discounts, I really do, like phrasing it as in a different mindset.
Well, I think if you could imagine that we have posted rates, and then let people know that there's whatever the discount is, maybe it's a certain percentage, that you just get a percentage discount if you're a resident. And the ways to show your residency is with your driver's license and show your address, your legal address. And alternative to that, if you own property and are paying property taxes, you can look it up on the web map. It takes like 5 seconds. It doesn't take any time at all. You can look up and see.
And that
what's
may
on
be
there.
a training thing, because I mean, I have that saved in my phone. That's kind of I look for property all the time. In district, of course.
Of our PRS staff, do you think any of them use web maps as a resource?
All of them.
All of them.
That's our primary way we look up.
Oh, it is how you?
Yeah.
Yeah, class of GIS.
So you can always look up, so if they have, I mean, you might have to, but you can match a name to a
It
ID.
says the name, yeah.
And it shows their mailing address.
It
even.
just gets
You just-
tricky with houses that have been purchased with trust.
Yeah.
That's what,
Like LLC.
around here, there are a lot of those.
There are a lot.
Well, they don't want to, I mean, we can develop a way that the onus is on citizens to bring that information in, and
Right.
if they're getting an 80% discount or whatever it is, like, I didn't went through the hoops to get my Nike discount, right? Like, I mean, that's worth it, but once I'm in, right? And what I would want to know is if we can keep that in our system, so that once there's, like, you don't want to do it every time you go swimming. If you could do it one and done.
No, but people move too, people move around, so once they're in the system, then what happens if they become a non-resident?
That's a good question.
2 or 3
Yeah,
years
we'd
down
have
the
to-
line, and they're still in the system as a resident.
Yeah, we would have to check it out.
Well, with our members, we usually are passive, especially majority of our insurance benefits.
we do have an annual where they have to refill out the
Yeah.
paperwork.
Oh, okay.
And-
So-
An annual
and
background.
Yeah.
Does it pop up on the, somewhere on the
We
screen?
just kind of do it in January,
Oh, you do it
around, because January,
Right.
or December.
It really depends on when they signed up for the pass, because it's good for a year, but when you go to scan it, it goes, then that's your indicator
And
right
then
there.
you
It's time to
change it, yeah.
change
Oh, I
it.
see.
Yeah.
And then we do check for them. One thing the district does is that if, if you are living in Portland and you have a beach home here, we consider that currently as in district.
Yeah, because they're paying.
Because they are paying a property.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Makes sense.
so it'll show on that sometimes on the web map.
So that works
Show
for
multiple
passes, but what about the folks that are just like signing up for lessons or whatever, that are claiming that just in district?
They
The resident rate.
still have to be registered in our system, and they would have set up that whole account at one point. Had to
But
go
then I
through the
moved.
process of showing their ID, that ties them to that address.
But do we
But
check
then I
that
moved.
annually? Like those residents annually? I
Yeah,
mean, that's something we
Probably
could
not.
have.
yeah.
It's something we surely can do easily.
Because if I set it up the first time and I am in district, then I can go
Right.
online right now and register for all the things in district because I set it up in district. But I have moved to Earhart.
Let's not give away the farm here in a public meeting. But I think
Is
there
that
are.
a doable thing? Because, like,
Yeah, but your mailing wouldn't, as you change, your mail wouldn't get to the old address. So it
do we
would come back.
get return mail? And change that, like, I know for the school district, when I send out like report cards, they come back with, and then I change them in the system if they have something.
We don't do direct mailing like that.
That's true.
We don't really have a reason to.
Hmm.
So yeah, it does get a little tricky, and you're right, a lot of our programs you could register online, so you could set your own, you could say that you live point A when you really live point B, and,
I mean, you're gonna have some of that. I mean, I'm sure there are people that lie about who they are when they go to the Nikes to get the Nike employee discount too. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some stuff, but, it is what it is. I just don't think you set
Some
up.
people have a driver's license,
Yeah,
but they may not have changed it after they moved out of district.
yeah. So I don't think you're gonna prevent all of
A lot
that.
of people know.
remind the board that we had a candidate for this position that had a situation, a challenging situation where they had more than one residence, and, yeah, it was,
Mhm.
maybe everybody remembers, but got a little
I
strange.
do.
Okay, all right, so,
I think you're on track. I think
What-
we
what- yeah,
can
well,
get adjusted.
I'm not necessarily hearing that, the percentage increases or difference are too far off, if off, but maybe some other changes to be included,
Yeah.
and protocols to be enhanced, I guess, I would say, or improved, to help us get to this, to a better point. Is that fair and accurate?
Yeah.
All right, we made some progress. I wasn't expecting that we'd stamp it tonight, but this is good. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you for working on it. I think it is important. It shows fiscal responsibility.
Yeah. Breathe easy, Chris, we're coming. We need some more money.
Broadway field update.
Oh, I have some pictures to show. So yeah, the project is coming along really good. Again, I think visual people, if you are that kind of person, oh man, sorry, it went away. All right, so yeah, I just, the project manager, Rocamp and Jager, they have a really good practice of documenting each week the growth with pictures. So actually the last month or so has been pretty eventful because with high school softball and baseball seasons reaching their conclusion, they've been able to get at the project more because there's less impact, and they've been able to tackle the actual softball, the previously used softball field, and start to deconstruct that, and that's expedited the process. We also, over the, I think the building had been moved at our meeting last month, but it hadn't been necessarily sat and put into the ground, and so that's happened over the last month also. So here's a site pic. This is actually a few days old, so that scoreboard is not up anymore. There's going to be 2 new scoreboards. Right.
What are we doing to the whole scoreboard?
The old baseball scoreboard was ready to be decommissioned. And actually, sorry, I misspoke. I think that scoreboard is going to be used for one of the fields. I think we are getting, I want to say there's 3 new scoreboards coming, and maybe that's one of them, so 2 new ones plus that. Sorry, that was confusing. Here's just a picture of what they call the yard, but this is where that parking lot will go. You guys can come over here if you want, sorry. But yeah, lots of stuff.
Lived it.
Occurring. It's a flurry of activity. I mean, there'll be days where there's 25, 30 vehicles out there working in a pretty active site. One of the things that's been real interesting is to see them running the conduit for the different parts of the project, and so there's a big long run of electrical conduit to get to lighting panels, to get to the new HFTF footprint. Here's the where the concession stand will sit. I have another picture of the radiant floor heating, but you can see it's kind of cool how the radiant floor heating works and how it's laid out. You know, it fascinated me the first time that they did it, and now it's just as fascinating the second time.
Is that new? Wait, I mean, not new, but did we not have that in the
We did have it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the conditions of relocating the building is that it kind of got constructed exactly as it was before.
Okay, another boiler. Yeah, they've been able to make a lot of progress, like I said, on the new softball field. So you'll see the sleeve installations for the backstop poles, the netting system to protect the neighbor property, and all of that. They did encounter with some of the wet weather that we had this spring. There was a lot of challenge with boring the holes and finding the right footings, but they have all the knowledge to make those adjustments, and that's been kind of cool to let them, or to watch them sort of work through that. This is where the old softball dugouts and softball crow's nest used to sit in bleachers, so you can see that's all been deconstructed now, and what they're calling it a rollback of the carpet. They basically roll that back, and then once they build this field, they'll mesh the 2 pieces of turf together, and it'll hopefully look as amazing as I think we're all envisioning it to. More electrical trenching. Here's that concrete floor being laid over the radiant heating system. And you can see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 folks in there working to do that. And then lots of drainage work too. The site gets, it's pretty wet and low, so there's been lots of drainage improvements to make sure that the field and parking lot and concrete, asphalt, all that drains properly once it's completed.
Fix the lake next to the basketball.
Yes, including that. Yeah, they dug down below what they thought was the manhole, and then there was another manhole like 3 feet below that manhole. So, yeah, lots of interesting things, a lot of surface in that part of Seaside. But yeah, those are the pictures. Like I said, pleased that the project is going well, and if I could not have to do this, it would be great, but sorry. Make sure I make this go away.
If only we had an IT person.
Mm-hmm. Or two. Or two.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. There we go. Sorry. Isaiah, all you had to do was stand up there.
Really good at IT.
I was still there.
Scared and-
I would call him, and he'd get over to my office, and right as he stepped in the door, the problem would fix itself. And Isaiah, you got the same
I
power.
had precisely the opposite effect.
Oh, my gosh.
I walked into a room and felt right.
Community garden, it's been coming right along.
It's been coming along. Hopefully you've driven by. The north section of the garden is, I wouldn't say it's complete, but the garden beds are complete. We have rentals. South section will be complete probably by the end of this week. We're getting dirt tomorrow on the south section of the garden. Fencing is going in. There's some other infrastructure things that are taking place. Pleased to say I think we've only spent about 15% of the funds that were made available by the school district for this, and our goal is to keep that number pretty low so that we could either expand the garden or make other improvements as we go along. So
Was that a flat fee that we received from the school though, or do we account for?
it was a flat fee. It was not a fee that we negotiated. It was a fee based on what they anticipated it would have cost to build the garden at one of these alternative locations that got proposed, such as the American Legion site. But yeah, that's the agreement that they signed with the city to basically pass those.
But when we say we spend, you mean supplies costs, not our labor costs?
Correct. Yeah, we're not accounting for labor, we're just accounting for lumber and.
Is the city helping with that
So
project?
the city's project, part of the project was to clear the site, and so they used those resources, and then they were the ones that put the, I think it's 3/4 inch gravel down and leveled the site, or they were, leveled the site. So to make it.
I was seeing people out there planting.
Is there a management agreement with the city?
Yes, I got your email about that, Mike, and I will definitely
Or I
respond.
just figured that
It's a good
there was
question.
something in the works.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going well, and pleased for hopefully some warmer and drier weather to get some things blooming out there.
Are they all rented at this time?
The north section is like, I think it was like 80 or 90% rented, and the south section, we were waiting to take rentals until it was more complete, but yeah. It looks
I
like
knew
it's-
last time you said we had to wait, I think.
Yeah, that was like, I think when we thought we were only gonna put 16 beds in, and now, it's expanded a little bit. We've just been able to, use some of those resources and put some of the additional beds in.
And what has been our response from the gardening community, like, about things?
From what I've heard, I think it's been really positive. I know there's probably folks that have had lots of questions, and we've tried to answer some of those, but we've gotten really good engagement from the local food, forest, pharmacy people. What's that place, that group called?
Northwest Food West?
No, the Pazowski group.
Oh, yes, the Food Forest.
Food Forest, and then we've also had really good partnership with the Master Gardeners. They're the ones that have had a few work parties with our staff and putting together the garden beds. And even had a hand in kind of laying out the garden as they thought it would be most advantageous for growing.
Okay. Master plan.
Yeah, these next couple items will be pretty brief for updates. We did receive a draft of the master plan that was shared internally with myself and Darren. We shared it with one community member from the steering committee as well as Celeste. And we provided some thorough feedback, and I'm still waiting to schedule kind of a follow-up meeting to share that feedback in a better format. I think the draft is good. It's really technically heavy, but there's some improvements that we're looking for, and engagement that we're looking for as we move along. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, unless Celeste wants to share anything. She read it, and we had a meeting and chatted about her feedback, my feedback, and I've provided that to our consultants already, but yeah, I want to meet with them and kind of work through that in a really conducive manner so that we can get the adjustments that we need in that document and our process.
Anything you want to?
No, I think that's accurate. I would say we still have a ways is how I feel about it. And I think it requires, I think the gist of my feedback was that we need a more collaborative process so that the board and probably staff have more, we need more facilitation so that there's more input from us as stakeholders into what the actual strategy is. There's a lot of background, there's a lot of collected information so far. That work's been done, but there's still a ways to go to actually have a plan in our strategic plan.
Okay. Previous presentations, expansion of district boundaries.
Yeah, so short update on this. Spoke with John from Oregon Solutions today. He shared he is almost completed with the interview process. We, again, had a list of, I think, 19 kind of strategic stakeholders, people that we wanted him to talk to about their feelings about expansion of the district boundaries. He's almost completed with those, but wasn't ready to come to the board and have a conversation about that process, but he does want us to schedule some time for him in June to come, and I got the sense from our email exchange that those conversations have been really productive and fruitful. And I was anticipating that he would call or ask me to nudge a person to return his calls or return his emails, and he hasn't done that, so I'm acting under the assumption that he's had success in that communication, which I think is really good because it was a lot of very busy people, political elected officials, and city managers, that type of people that he was tasked with speaking with.
Okay.
And in terms of the systems development charge, I did want to share that we've signed the agreement with FCS. They're going to begin their work sometime probably in middle to late July with us, but excited about engaging with them, and that timeline worked out well for them and for us in terms of resources and that kind of thing. So, like Kyle said earlier in the meeting, it's going to take it's probably a 6 to 9 month process. So I wouldn't expect anything really soon, but we'll have more information to unveil as we move about that process.
Did they provide a data request, a list of data elements that they want?
They did.
To provide?
Yeah, it was in their proposal.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can send that to you. I think it was in the board packet, but.
Well, I just want to look, my interest is in looking at that request to see if those data elements we can use somewhere else in our organization. If we're doing these different plans and studies and stuff,
Yeah.
might be able to reuse it. That's all, that's my only interest.
Good question. I think that's it for old business for me.
Okay. New business. Adoption of the approved 2024-2025 budget that Chris and Darren have been waiting patiently for.
I thought they were just staying for the meeting.
And I have to apologize to your wife, Karen, because I saw her before this, and I said, oh, I'm going to the meeting, and she's like, oh, will Darren be there? And I was like, oh, no, there won't be any reason for him to be there. And I completely spaced it.
So your wife thinks you're out on a date right now.
I owe her an apology.
Thank goodness for cell phones.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Oh, she's been texting me, don't worry.
Tell her I'm sorry.
On public record.
Yes.
Just one question. I didn't see the minutes for the budget.
Yeah. Again, as we were last year, we're kind of in no man's land. I can share with the board, they're compiled and just sitting in a file on our server. Because the budget committee is technically a separate government agency, I never really know if I'm supposed to get them approved by anybody if we don't have that second budget committee meeting. So
The full committee would normally approve it.
They would, but since we didn't have a second meeting and, we're not supposed to get, like, I can't send it out for approval electronically by law.
Right.
I'm not sure what to do, so
Well,
if you want, I can.
Yeah, I don't, I did was just trying to remember what changes.
The changes.
We made a couple minor changes, if I recall.
Yes.
And,
I bet Darren or
Can we-
Chris might
In the interest of
remember them.
transparency, can't we still post them as unofficial minutes? Can you not do that?
We absolutely can, yeah.
I mean, I think it just might be better to have them available.
Draft minutes.
Yeah, in the draft.
Yeah, normally,
Not the draft.
it would have seemed like this year's budget committee would have reviewed last year's budget committee. What happened to last year's budget?
Also in the file, but it's a different budget committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I think unofficial.
The Bermuda Triangle of Government.
But every government has to do this, so
Yeah.
how do other people do it?
As far as I know, most budget committee meetings would meet twice. And they would review the second, I don't know.
But then there would be meeting minutes from the second meeting.
Right.
I think maybe that's,
Yeah, but,
Well, regardless, I mean, we don't have to solve it tonight, but I was just trying to
But
remember what changed.
but does the cohort present at a meeting have to approve the minutes of a meeting? I'm not sure that that's in statute anywhere. In other words, we're the
I don't
governing
recall.
body, so we can approve the minutes. I think.
But
we
they're
can
not
look
our
into it.
minutes.
yeah.
Remember I kept saying.
They're not board minutes.
I'm
they're
not
budget
part of this.
minutes, So,
But is there a rule that
I don't recall.
only the members of the committee can approve?
Yeah, I don't recall how that.
In other words,
worked in
we
the
as a
past, so-
board, as the governing entity of this institution, approve minutes.
That makes sense.
Well, but I think just having this discussion
Yeah.
is enough to.
There's someone at SEAO who could answer that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I like the
do
transparency.
we actually ask that question in August when
Sure.
somebody's here?
I will look at the answer to that question, and I think to the point, there is probably a way that we can publish a draft at least of the minutes to our website or somewhere included with the budget information.
I might add to this too, that this is technically a budget hearing tonight. It is posted as such. So I would think that you, as a board and 50% of the budget committee would have the ability to authorize and approve those.
Huh.
Yeah, and the approval part is not as important to me as it is, we need to continue to signal to the public that we take this budget stuff really seriously. That, we had a pretty extensive debate on budget numbers, I think an important discussion.
Well, Davis Sterling says, sportsman minutes can be approved by the board of directors.
Who's David Sterling? Oh.
David Sterling?
Well, I know it.
Because they're part of our budget
We
committee.
are a quorum, I guess. of the
Wait, she
budget
said
committee.
No, David Sterling, it was, no.
Jay Sterling is
Oh.
the budget committee person.
It's just a lot of percent.
Yeah.
I just, it's like Google search.
Well, then there's.
Are you looking, or,
600 other lawyers.
Reading.
So then, do we have to recess from the board meeting and open
We
the
do.
budget hearing?
The budget hearing that Darren's speaking about is to approve.
Next year's
The budget's been approved, and now has to be adopted by this group, and that's what the budget hearing is for.
Okay.
I move that be it resolved that the board of directors of the Sunset Empire Park and Recreation District hereby adopts the budget for fiscal year 2024 to 2025 in a total amount of $4,292,860.
Don't we have to read every line like we
This
did last
one?
year?
He's getting to it, I think.
The budget is now on file at the district offices. I was just making a motion, but there's further motions down here imposing the tax. We have to read all that
Yep.
and, Be it resolved that the amounts shown below are hereby appropriated for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 for the following purposes. I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna read, do I have to read each amount?
Yes.
Or can I just read the total?
No.
Okay, general fund, administrative services, $775,265. Maintenance services, $464,791. Aquatic services, $741,231. Recreational services, $175,648. Youth program services, $783,598. Community center services, $126,485,000. Special event services, $131,192. Broadway field, $54,535. Sunset Recreation Center, $399,475. Debt service, 0. Transfers, $25,000. Contingency, $50,000. A total of $3,727,120 for the general fund. The capital fund, we have no amount entered, 0. Total appropriations of all funds, $3,727,120. Total unappropriated reserve amounts, all funds, $565,740. Total adopted budget, $4,292,860. Imposing the tax, be it resolved that the following ad valorem property taxes are hereby imposed upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district for tax year 2024 to 2025. Item 1, at the rate of 92.9280 per thousand of assessed value for permanent rate tax. Categorizing the tax. Be it resolved that the taxes imposed are hereby categorized for purposes of Article 11, Section 11B as subject to the general government limitation, permanent tax rate, 0.9280 per $1,000. The above resolution statements were approved and declared adopted on blank blank. I so move.
I'll second.
Question though. On this, are we going off the proposed or the budget committee?
The budget committee. When you adopt a budget, then the adopted budget line will be filled.
So the numbers don't match.
It's because everything is kind of rolled up into, and how they,
But like, the administration, the budget committee wanted $804,765.
They don't match, do they? The administrative is higher.
Administration and then the total. So the total on the resolution is the proposed, but the total on the budget committee is higher.
Where are you looking at?
So I'm comparing this document to this resolution.
Yeah, your point is.
Not even close.
oh. Okay. So let's get to that.
I'm sorry, I didn't have I was out of town, so I didn't get to look this over much before now.
Or you didn't have this packet until you got to the meeting anyways?
So, but
This wasn't
this,
available.
but it's not this.
Correct, you didn't
Yeah.
have this to
Yeah,
compare,
yeah.
so you wouldn't have, I didn't.
And then my other, so the total adopted budget, the 4292 should match the 4089, correct? And then the unappropriated ending fund balance is different?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Good question. Just double checking. Yeah, the administrative services, you're absolutely correct. That one is off.
Contingency.
It's off by the adjusted amounts, because we went in the administrative budget. The AD, employment recognition and retention, we went up
Yeah.
from 10,500 to 40,000. That did not get reflected on the resolution. So there's, that difference.
So is the 804,765 correct?
Yeah, that is the correct amount.
Okay.
Because that was the difference, you can see what we had proposed, and then the budget committee, had decided, we were wrapping up our budget meeting, that, they wanted to see line 36 on the administrative budget go from 10,500 to 40,000.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
okay,
that is, and that is that difference.
okay, so then that would make the total department expenses is the 3681. No, it is the 3756. 620. And then, so then this would be, and then the unappropriated amount is off.
But that would, that would be our 332,844, but then that would also include whatever is in the capital improvement fund. But no, you're absolutely right. That is, the fund balance there is only anticipated to be 28,000. Okay. You're absolutely correct.
So then,
Done,
yeah.
calculated?
So, thank you.
Well,
So it's a difference of about
we can't pass
200,000.
this at the June meeting.
Yep.
I said we can't pass this at the June meeting, too.
Oh, we can.
Yes. This has to be the assessor before July.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game a little bit, but. Darren, Chris, would you be in favor of us, double checking our math and bringing this back to the board in the June meeting? Or,
Absolutely.
okay, I think it's important that we present
Right.
the accurate numbers for transparency and obviously for accuracy's sake.
Sorry.
I'll withdraw my
No,
second.
nothing
I'll
to be
withdraw
sorry
my
about.
second.
I withdraw my motion.
Right.
Mike, thanks for reading all that.
And as you're reading, I'm like looking and I'm like, do I interrupt or?
I can still read.
Thank you.
Hey, good catch, Catherine.
That is really, that's why you're president.
No, that's,
No.
I'm looking at it. There's a problem.
Okay, I can take the rest of the year off now, right?
Rest of the fiscal year? or-
You mean,
Well,
I was gonna say, so the
sorry.
one.
I won't be, it's easy.
What?
No. So I guess yes.
So you say.
Yeah. Okay, request for proposal, banking services for the, we're tabling the adoption until next month, request for proposal, banking services for the district. So, just in a second. We met as a committee, I was the board appointee, Skylar, Darren, Chris, and I cannot remember his name from the city. Zach. Met and we received 3 proposals. We scored the proposals, then we met again and talked about the proposals, and there were, yes, we developed kind of a scoring system. We scored them, we talked about them. We were kind of prepared to make a recommendation, but we were hoping to hear, we had asked for references. We were hoping to hear back from the references. That has not happened. And a unofficial reference kind of came to me this weekend and gave me some information that we might want to consider. So I think I talked with Skylar today, and what we were kind of hoping to maybe do is do a kind of a second round of interviews with these candidates. We were ready to make a recommendation today, but I think we'd like to put that on hold and do a round of interviews with the candidates and get some additional information and then come back to the board with another recommendation. Because there really isn't a rush to change. We have financial services. We are hoping for some better customer service, better partnership, and better fees. I don't want us to go through the whole hassle and process of switching just to end up in not a great situation with a new provider. So I think it's worth taking our time to find the right fit. So anyway, I think, does that about sum it up?
That's great.
Okay. So that's where we're at. Moving on. Northwest Senior Disability Services Contract Renewal. Did I get it right?
You did, good job.
WSDS? Yeah. Look at all those acronyms. I feel like we just did this.
Yeah, it's sort of once a year kind of thing.
No,
I think it's possible that we were a month or two behind this last fiscal year. Maybe it got approved in July or August, but trying to stay ahead of it a little bit. And so, yeah, this is the site management agreement for the meal site and for our meal site coordinator, who is Chris, not this Chris Duffy. It's essentially in line with what we're hoping for with increases for some of our expenses. I know one board member, Sue, has already found at least one date in the contract that's not right, but I think substantially the contract is solid and would recommend that the board approve it for us to move forward, continuing this partnership with Northwest Senior Disability Services.
The math, so that was, I feel like last time we looked at this, the math did math, so that's good.
This is the same except for the dollar amount, as soon as we've had.
Yes.
So, and I'm looking on page 7, the Park District's responsibilities. And the third to the last bullet says that our efforts shall be to maintain or increase participation by 5% each year.
Mm-hmm.
Do we measure participation? You know how many meals they serve? Have we been doing the 5%?
We've been doing above 5% each year.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Which has been outstanding at increasing participation of the site, particularly, in the wake of COVID and managing the drive-up site with the meal site with Meals on Wheels.
And that includes both the meals that are served here plus ones that are sent out. Okay.
So do you need a motion?
I do.
For us?
Yeah.
So I move that we approve the NWSDS contract renewal.
Do we need to give you permission to sign it?
I think that is, I guess, included in the motion, but, I'm
Amended to,
assuming, yeah.
amended to approve, our executive director signing the contract.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify aye, opposed, nay, Ralph? Sue?
Aye.
Celeste?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye.
You know, I think Sue actually said that she seconded that immediately after the motion, so it may be Sue's second rather than mine.
I think that's
Either one.
some wrestle.
Good job getting that done earlier.
Yes.
Happy about that too, yeah.
Our training requirement that's been on the,
So,
Still waiting?
on that,
Okay.
sorry.
great.
I mean, it's not my holdup, but, still waiting.
I did see, speaking of training and board of directors, I did see a message from Haley regarding the online training
Yes.
and all that, so.
Hopefully that's clarified for
Yes,
the board, but
nope,
yeah.
that's great.
good opportunity if you'd like, but not a requirement for you. But I will jump down to, item C under my report, if that's okay.
Yep.
So, it's been a goal of mine to actually coordinate this, and we've never been able to do it, just because Dayton, SDAO has a limited capacity for conducting these board practices assessments, with boards across the state. But essentially what happens is a consultant comes and they would conduct a meeting with us and they go through an assessment to gauge, different, criteria of board function and, share opportunities to improve, provide you all with some feedback, maybe provide me with some feedback, how to do my job better in working with you.
So do they come to one of our regular meetings?
Well, that's the question. In wanting to coordinate it, I asked special districts if we could lock in a date and just shared with them the date of our August meeting, because I know that you all probably have that kind of in your calendar at least, and so they have one of their consultants that's going to be here at that date. So the reason why there's a question mark is it's kind of up to the board how you want to use that time. We could ask the consultant to come early and you all could meet for this assessment in like a workshop before the meeting, or you could have an abbreviated meeting and do that after. But I think this would be really valuable for the board. You have all engaged in a really high level of training and things like that, but this is a part of that. And we also get a discount on our insurance.
I knew you were going to say that.
Which is important. And this would also check the box for you all that you have to get training from SDAO, I think at least once a year, some type of training. So this would fulfill that part.
My 2 cents would be, if it's an assessment, I feel like they need to observe us in action and then discuss afterwards.
That might be what they want to do. I haven't talked to the consultant, although I know who it is, Bob Kiefer, and he may choose to do it like that, or he may have his own kind of style for conducting the assessment. I don't know if you ever went through.
I don't remember, Bob. I think, they have a checklist.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is going to be based on our board policy. So we're going to look at our board policies and make sure that they meet the criteria that they want to meet. I think the in-person stuff might be a less of a time investment on their part than actually reviewing.
Yeah. I can certainly provide more information, gather more information. I guess I kind of, again, the reason the question mark is there's like, can we lock that date in that we're all going to be here, hopefully?
That's the August meeting?
The August meeting.
Just so you know, Hood to Coast is the 24th, and our meeting's the 27th.
Perfect.
Along a similar note, I will not be at September. I'll be at the August. I'll 10-year high school review.
You're going to miss us?
You're going to go?
And
That's just my.
I was going to say, aren't you?
That's why we're having
going.
So I could ask for a different date if you all would like.
75.
The state doesn't work. Yeah, it's scheduled, but it's not like,
Well, congratulations.
it's not in stone right now, so.
I mean, I'm not the clinch pin on everything. Like, do I have to be there? I probably won't be president. We'll pass the baton by then, right?
You're looking at me like it's Skylar's decision, and you should look at them.
I've got no baton passing interest.
I don't see anyone.
I don't know.
Would it be better to, is it hard to get a date with them to do it?
It can be, but I
Can we check in September? Would that be better?
I know we have one person.
Oh, you're gonna be
I'm
on
going to
September.
be on
Okay.
September 4th.
We could ask about October.
Ooh, October, I'll be remote.
Okay,
I can call in. I think October.
I will be there if we can make it short and sweet.
October.
It's my daughter's birthday. She's turning 12. I feel like I need to be there.
That's a magical age.
Yeah.
They're all not-
Going into 6th grade.
October, I can be here remotely. I'm just gonna be on travel.
October is the 22nd.
Can we get some more details from SDAO, maybe?
Okay.
Hurting hurting, adult
Cats.
cats. Yeah. All right, well, that's, item C.
Okay.
Working backwards, you'll see, our flyers for the farmer's market. Really, pleased with the flyer, the look of it. I think it's nice. We have bilingual flyers. We also have an early flyer for the Chalk Art Contest, which Zoe has renamed Chalk It in Seaside because we want to make it less of a contest and more of a inclusive feeling, recreation activity that's not, doesn't deter people by being a contest. So that, those flyers for there. Farmers Market starts about 3 weeks or so from tomorrow, I believe. And then our June board meeting date, which will have at least a presentation from Oregon Solutions, and we'll be adopting the budget come hell or high water. So,
And I will not be there.
a couple of things, and apparently the board president won't be there.
Well,
Will you be there, Celeste? Okay,
June?
Yeah.
You'll be virtual?
No, I will not. I will be in a very loud environment.
Concert?
Yes. No.
What concert starts at 5:15?
Kaleo in Portland.
All right. Some of you have very much more fun lives than I do, so.
well, I can't tell you where I'll be.
I know. Appreciate you, Celeste. Or, Sue, sorry.
If, okay, if it came down to it, do we want to move that
The board meeting?
June? If we're losing 2 people for that day?
Well, my situation is too fluid for,
Yeah, she's just dealing with her.
Yeah.
Still have a quorum.
So.
yeah, I
We're
mean,
we're okay, I think.
there, where my sister is, there's no computer, and believe it or not, in Vancouver, unless you guys can figure out how to jury-rig Philida into some sort of network. I'm here tonight, I'm driving off as soon as we're done to get back. But you can't get phone signals there.
Crazy.
Kind of crazy.
The only other thing that I wanted to share, not a date, but we have a really cool project that's going to happen in June, actually here in this building. About probably a year ago, we got word of a grant from, I wrote it down. It's the Oregon, give me a second here.
That isn't the one.
Gary, you don't remember who it is, right?
It's through the Oregon Department of Human Services.
Thank you. Yeah, Adam Hansen. And anyways, the grant is to improve access to senior centers. And so knowing that our board president had a very strong interest in a pet project of improving the crosswalk in between the pool and the library parking lot, we tried every lever we could to use this grant for that project. They would not allow us to do that for a variety of reasons. But we were able to pivot and apply for the grant and use the grant for improving flooring here at the center, in the restrooms and the pottery room, and there's a back restroom kind of back by the kitchen. And so Darren has helped us coordinate that effort, and it's a local contractor that's going to be doing that project for us, and it's really good. The restrooms here, I mean, there's several parts of the building that are just a little bit outdated, and we've been working with a fundraising plan for several years to improve those parts, but this will be a nice project that will happen in, I think it's last full week of June, if I remember right, Darren?
24th.
24th. So take about a week and be really neat. But I shared with you all electronically, but since he's here, I'm really grateful and pleased that our Director of Development is doing a really great job, and we've received great news about some grants in the last few weeks for some of our programs and services. So we talked about one grant, but we also got an infant toddler grant. Got a grant from the City of Seaside for turkey trot, this grant for flooring, and there's been some other ones that have come through.
Scholarships.
scholarships, yeah, foundation. Darren, I think, is on the docket for presenting in June. Okay. We'll see. Maybe he's not gonna be here. We'll share more information about grants acquired and his work at an upcoming meeting, but just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, come to Paletta and tell them how to have a computer and phone, access.
I was gonna say, it's a lot like Willoughby Lake there, huh?
It's crazy. This is what year?
Okay, board comment. Kyle?
First, Ms. Kelly, it's awesome to hear each month about an employee that knocks it out of the park. So, thank you, Ms. Kelly, and, I also appreciate people from the public who come and share their thoughts and experiences, and I always look at it as a way to make ourselves better, so, I appreciate Marty coming in. The awesome Zoe, is that something special to see what she's done with that video and the programs and projects that are, all the special events that she takes care of? But what I'm really liking about what she does is the fact that she draws in high school students to participate in this and give them some real world experience in how organically complicated some of these things are.
Can I also add just but she brings in the middle school kids for the Builders Club with
Oh,
Karen.
now see, that is awesome too. I wish you would have said that. And I really like to see high school kids get involved in this stuff, in middle school too. The finance team, I don't know how many people appreciate how many data entries go into putting a budget together. I mean, there's got to be tens of thousands of them, and I know your last 2 or 3 months have just been swamped with budget-related stuff, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, all the work you guys are putting together to keep us afloat and make sure the district's treasurer is protected. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue?
So I kind of just ditto most of that, but I want to make a point to public comment that I still believe every complaint is a gift. The concern I have is I was present, I saw, and that what was written is not what I saw. And so I'm sorry, the public comment brought my name on record, and that is, I went to Skylar after and talked to him, and that is not what I saw. And so I simply am a little bit concerned, while I appreciate the importance of public comment, I wish she had stayed more than 7 minutes. And I am grateful for her input. She did come and talk to me. I went and talked to Skylar, but I did, that is not the concern I brought forward. And so I'm not willing or interested in hashing more of it, but I am telling you that what was written to us and what I saw were two different things. And so I'm not here, literally, I haven't been around for the last 5 weeks. I don't plan to expect to be around the next 6 weeks. So I'm not in the water at all, seeing people. I am really curious where Jackson went. If, I don't know. I expected him to be around, because I still think we should throw a party for the newlyweds. But anyway, I am grateful for our Employees of the Month recognition, and, again, a stellar employee in Kelly, and I appreciate, the awesomeness of Zoe. I still miss her in the water. I mean, I appreciate the caliber of educator we have right now in the classes, but I still miss Zoe. But I know she's doing an incredibly wonderful job promoting the programs that we do here, and that's all nothing but good. And I just can't say anything more than just how amazing she is. I appreciate the people we have, you know, you catching that issue with the budget, thank you. You know, that's why we have this group, and I think we come with strengths, and I appreciate that we have excellent people in the positions that we have, and the fact that we can work together in a collaborative effort and, you know, fix things so that we are serving the public to the best ability that we can. And I appreciate our flexibility, and I hope I'm here for the June meeting. I don't know how to say that, you know, nicely, because my sister was able to rally, and that's why I'm gone. But the outcome is still dire. So I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. So I appreciate what I see and what I feel from our community, and I'm grateful to be part of it, and I thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Celeste?
No additional comment, I just sign on to the acknowledgements of the other.
Ditto, ditto.
Carl and Sue had said it all, really. Yeah, my hat's off to Zoe and to Kelly Smith. I don't know if I'm familiar with her, but yeah, Zoe does a great job, and we're lucky to have her here. And we're lucky to have Darren here too. And staff is really good. I did have the pleasure of being in Arizona last week, and for my granddaughter's high school graduation.
Oh, congratulations.
I brought my own. Hassle was worth the hassle. But I'm really proud.
Did you have
of
to
her.
flip it over to the other side of your ball cap when she walked across the stage?
It was an outdoor ceremony after sunset. But anyway, I'm really proud of her. She's gotten into aquatics and as a lifeguard this summer, and has been moved up to a position of leadership, and is learning to be a water polo coach this summer. And I think she's making about $22 an hour for her first year as a lifeguard. That's kind of interesting. I used to fight to make that kind of money as a contractor. But anyway, it was very hot down there, but very good family time, and you know, it was great to see the recognition my granddaughter received. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I would just like to say congratulations to Kelly, very deserving. Ms. Kelly is beloved by all. I'm very excited to get the fire system going next week and see that start progressing, so we can then work towards our full occupancy. I think that's just a huge major step that we've been obviously working for quite some time. In response to the public comment, Marty had reached out via email. Skylar replied. My concern with this particular public comment in this particular commenter is she seems to be fixated on one particular employee. Pretty much every public comment that she makes is about this particular employee. And, you know, hearing from Sue that that is not the interaction, I just, you know, I think Ashley Wolf is an integral part of our aquatic program, and so she has my support, basically, is what I would like to say on record. Zoe, she's fantastic. I think the thing that I love about her, besides her spirit, is just her competitiveness with herself. So all of those events that she mentioned particularly come to mind, the turkey trot, where she came to me and she's like, you have to sign up right now. I'm trying to get more pre-sign-ups than last year. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming. You know, and she just, every year,
I'll trot right now.
I know, she's just consistently trying to beat those goals, and I think she's doing a phenomenal job. And I,
Graduated.
as a person that participates in most of those events with my family, I completely wholeheartedly agree with her that that is building a sense of community and building memories for my kids. I mean, that's why I dragged myself to a turkey trot. That, you know, like, that's not fun for me. But they like it. So, I just, you know, it is not your normal sense of park and rec, but it is the rec, and it is building community, which is important, and I'm just applaud all her efforts, and I appreciate the district's commitment to carrying on those traditions that have been started. Lots of good things to look forward to, I think. I'm very proud to be on this board and work with you. It is, I don't say it often, but I've been here a bit now, and this iteration is a fantastic group of people to work with, so thank you all.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.